Okay. So we're going to just review the definitions of what an x-intercept is. Wow. An x-intercept is the x value at which a graph crosses or intercepts the x-axis. It is the value of x when y equals 0, and it would be in the form of x comma 0, remember? And then it's where it crosses the x-axis. So this is my x-intercept, and it's the point x comma 0, okay? And then a y-intercept is a y value at which a graph crosses or intersects the y-axis. And it's the value of y when x equals 0. And it would be in the form of 0 comma y. So it's where it crosses the y-axis, which is right here. So this is the y-intercept. And it's the point 0 comma y. Okay? All right. Questions on the definitions? We kind of went over these already. Okay. So I have some step-by-steps here for you. And it says how to find the intercepts if I'm given an equation. So the x-intercept is what is x when y equals 0? That still hasn't changed. That's still the question. What is an x-intercept? It's what is x when y equals 0? So step 1, I'm going to substitute y equals 0 into an equation. That means wherever there's a y in my equation, I'm going to put in a 0. Okay? And then step 2 says solve for x. So once that's 0 in there, and there's no more y's because y is now 0, then I'm just going to solve for x like I know how to do, just solve. And then once I solve for x, my intercept is x comma 0. Okay? And it's the same thing for a y-intercept. It's what is y when x equals 0. So I'm going to substitute x equals 0 into the equation and solve for y. And the intercept is 0 comma y. So the bad thing about this, and I guess it's not really a bad thing, but it is for you. Well, I think you guys think it's a bad thing. Was that Ernesto? It was Ernesto. Okay, where's Ernesto? Okay, so the bad thing is I have to do 2 things to each equation, and that kind of sucks sometimes. It does kind of suck. It does kind of suck to have to do 2 things every time I do an equation. But I have to find 2 things. I have to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So I have to do 2 things when I'm doing this. So I'm just going to kind of draw a line here. So I have a little bit of room. Because I have room over here, I can write. So I want to find my x-intercept. And this is kind of how I organize it. So to find my x-intercept, I'm going to set, what did it tell me to do? Let's see, what does it say to do? Substitute y equals 0 into the equation. So wherever there's a y in my equation, and this is the equation I'm working with, I'm going to put 0. So I get 3 times x plus 6 times 0 equals 12. So I substituted in that 0. Marie and Christian. Sorry, guys. Marie's been here. Christian. Wow. Okay. Okay. So the rule said, the step 1 said substitute in a 0 wherever there's a y. So in my equation, where there was a y, see there's a y here, I put a 0. Okay. Now I'm just going to solve for x. So I have 3 times x, which is just 3x, plus 6 times 0. What's 6 times 0? Anybody? 6 times 0? Anybody know what 6 times 0 is?
0.
Very good. So that's 0. Do I have to write 0 there? I don't, right? I don't have to write it because it's 0. 3x plus 0 is just 3x. So then that equals 12. So then I divide by 3, and x equals 4. That means my y-intercept, so I'm going to write my y-intercept like it says here, is x comma 0. So my x this time is 4 comma 0. There's my x-intercept. Okay, and now I have to find my y-intercept. And I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to follow the directions that it says here. And it says the first thing to do is substitute x equals 0 into the equation. So wherever there's an x in my equation, I'm going to put a 0. So on this equation this time, here's where my 0 is going to go. So I have 3 times 0 plus 6y equals 12. So again, what's 3 times 0?
0.
0. Good, guys. Sorry, my head is just pounding. So 0 plus... I don't really have to write the plus. If it was a minus, I would have to write it. So 6y equals 12. Divide by 6. And y equals, and I wrote that on the wrong line, didn't I? 2. So my x-intercept is going to be the form right here, 0y. So I've got 0, 2. So here's my x-intercept right here. And here's my y-intercept right there. Okay? Any questions on how to do that? We're going to do it again. And I actually have several examples that I'm doing, so you guys have several examples to follow, and then you have some examples to do. And our homework is not in Delta Math today because they didn't have anything, so it's in Canvas today. But it's not like yesterday's homework. It's I'll show you what it looks like when we get done. It's 10 questions. So I've got the x-intercept again. I want to find that first. So that's where y equals 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in for y. So I've got 4x minus 3 times 0 equals 24. So that's 4x equals 24. Divide by 4. I'm pretty sure it's 6. So my x-intercept would be 6, 0. And then we're going to go for my y-intercept. And that's where I'm going to put, wherever there's an x, I put 0. That's what my rule says. So I've got 4 times 0 minus 3y equals 24. So negative 3y equals 24. So divide by negative 3, and y equals negative 8. So my y-intercept will be 0, negative 8. So here's my two answers, here and here. And should probably include which one so you know which one's which. Okay? Questions so far? Okay. So let's go to the next page. Okay. So same thing. We're doing exactly the same thing. Nothing has changed. So I'm going to find my x-intercept by setting y equal to 0. So wherever there's a y, right? It doesn't matter where the y is in my equation. I'm going to put a 0 there. So I've got negative 33 times 0 plus 66x equals negative 132. So 66x equals negative 132. Woo. Divide by 66. I think that means x is going to equal negative 2. Okay? So my x-intercept should be negative 2, 0. You guys really don't have any questions? Is this okay? So to find my y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0. So here's my x. Okay, so I've got negative 33y plus 66 times 0 equals negative 132. 3y equals negative 132. 33. I have no clue what this answer is. That's not a calculator either. 132 divided by 33. Oh, negative 4. It's 4. 0, 4. Questions? Okay. All right, so same thing. We're doing exactly the same thing. So I've got x-intercept is where I'm going to set y equal to 0. So here's my y. So I've got 6 equals x minus 3 times 0, or 6 equals x. So my x-intercept is 6, 0. And my y-intercept is where I set x equal to 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in there. So I've got 6 equals 0 minus 3y, or 6 equals negative 3y, divided by negative 3, and y equals negative 2. So I've got 0, negative 2. Okay? So I did one last one where the x and the y were not on the same side of my equation. So notice on my equal sign that the x and the y are on different sides of the equal sign. Is that going to change how I do how I find my x and y intercepts? It is not. I'm still going to do the same thing. I might have to do one or two things extra to solve for it, but I'm still doing exactly the same thing that I have been doing. So to find my x-intercept, I'm going to set y equal to 0. So wherever there's a y, a 0 is going to go in there. So I've got 72 plus 8 times 0 equals negative 9x. So 72 equals negative 9x divided by negative 9. X equals negative 8. I think that's what it is. Negative 8 times 0. Okay. And then to find the y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0. So I'm going to put my 0 in here. So I've got, let's see, what does that give me? 72 plus 8 times y. 8 times y, because I'm substituting 0 for x this time. Negative 9 times 0. Which gives me 72 plus 8y equals 0. So I can't solve it yet because my constant and my variable are on the same side, the equal sign. So I have to move one of them. So I'm just going to move the negative 72. So my variable stays positive. That's the only reason. So I've got 8y equals negative 72 divided by 8. And y equals negative 9. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 9. Okay? All right, so now I want you guys to try it, okay? So we're going to just start with one equation first. And it's just like what I just got done doing, so I'm going to kind of leave that on the screen as a... So to find my x-intercept, what do? Wherever there's a y, I want to find my x-intercept, y equals 0. So I've got 44 plus 22x equals 11 times 0. So I got 44 plus 22x equals 0. Oh, you're still working on it. Nice, Sally. Thank you. Do you need a little bit more time, or do you want me to keep going? Thank you for answering me, though, so I don't feel like I'm sitting here talking to myself. So subtract 44 from both sides. Thanks, Yahweh. So x-intercept is negative 2, 0. Find my y-intercept, I'm going to set x equal to 0. So in my equation, I get 44 plus 22 times 0 equals 11y. So that becomes 44 equals 11y. Divide by 11, and y equals 4. So it's 0, 4. Questions? Okay, you've got 2 problems now. Turn on this. So remember the rule said, remember I had some steps, and it says the first step is to set y equal to 0. Okay? So that means wherever there's a y, I'm going to take the y out and put a 0 there.
Put 0?
Yeah, so watch. If I'm going to do the x-intercept, right? That means that y equals 0. Okay? So in my equation, which is right here, this is the equation I'm working with, because I needed extra room, right? Wherever there's a y, I'm going to put 0. Okay? So that means my equation then becomes x plus 18 equals 9 times 0.
Oh, 9 times 0.
Yeah, so wherever the y was, I just put a 0 in there. Does that make sense? And then that means 9y means 9 times y. And if y is 0, I'm going to make 9 times 0. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then that becomes 9 times 0 is 0. You guys all know that. I know you guys all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get x plus 18 equals 0. Right? Are we okay with that part?
Yeah.
Okay, then I solve for x. What do I have to do to solve for x? I want to get x by itself.
Add 18.
Yeah, subtract 18, right?
Subtract 18, yeah.
Yep. So x equals negative 18. So I've solved for x. So now the third step of my directions, remember those steps that I told you guys? I can go back to them and you guys can take pictures of them. That's fine. But remember the third step said write it like negative 18, 0. Done. That's the x-intercept. I'm done. That's all I have to do. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the y-intercept. Well, close to the same thing. For the y-intercept, I set x equal to 0. So now I'm going to do exactly the same. It's pretty easy. So if you think of it this way, if I'm finding the x-intercept, I'm going to take the opposite variable, which is y, and set it equal to 0. If I'm finding the y-intercept, I'm going to take the opposite one, or the other one, which is x, and set it equal to 0. Isn't that what it says? And then I'm in my equation, wherever there's an x, there's going to be a 0. So that's 0 plus 18 equals 9y. So then I get 18 equals 9y. And I'm just solving for y now. So I divide by 9, and y equals... I know you guys know how to solve equations. I've seen you. Almost everybody in here can solve an equation. Okay, so I think the part that you're getting stuck on, and this is all of you guys, is taking that y equals 0 and substituting it into the equation, right? Because once I get past that, you guys are like, oh, I can solve that, right? It's just substituting. That's just the rule. I just substituted in. You guys know what substitution is, right? It's where you take something out and put something of equal value back in. So I'm taking my y out. It says x equals 0. So I'm taking my x out and putting 0 in there. Or taking my y out and putting 0 in there. That's all I'm doing. And then writing my answer in whichever... Oops, that's not a negative 2, is it? It's not, is it? No, it's not. Okay. and then writing my answer in that form, and that's it.
Oh.
Does that help somewhat?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm doing C, we're doing exactly that same thing. I've done the same thing for like 10 problems now, and no one's asked a question. So how many people feel better about what we're doing now that I kind of talked, Ketlin helped me talk you guys through it. Right, thanks, Ketlin.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So I got my, huh?
Huh?
What?
Oh, no, it's because, like, I don't know. I just, like, I don't know why. Like, there's just sometimes, like, I don't want to, like, show my face.
It's okay. I understand. I don't want to show my face sometimes either. I'm losing my hair, you guys.
Really?
Yeah. It just is coming out in droves. I don't know why.
You know what I do?
It's driving me
Whiteboard.
crazy. What?
Which my mom gets so mad at me about.
What?
I pull my hair out.
Oh, no. No.
Well, it's cause, like, there's some parts of my hair that's just, like, really curly, but, like, really black. Like, you can see it's, like, a piece of shine. It just shows a black color. So I'm just like, ew, I don't like it, and I just throw it on the floor. And then it's because I would walk towards the trash can, and then I don't have it in my hand no more. And then she would see it, she would sweep, and she's like, see, your hair's all over the place. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're so funny.
And if not, then if I just play with my hair, because, like, I play with it now, and there's a couple, like, loose ones, of course, that would just fall out. And then I would just do that, or, like, just put my hands through, you know? And then there would just be a couple just already, like, falling out.
Yeah, well, that's normal a little bit, but literally it's coming out by the handful. I do not know what's wrong.
Yeah.
So this one, I did the same thing, even though Ketlin and I were talking, I didn't talk through it. I did the same thing, you guys. I substituted in for X, but 42 doesn't go into 36. It's okay, I can just leave it as a fraction. 6 goes into both of them though, so this would be 6/7. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 6 over 7. Okay, remember I'm just taking out whichever variable it says equals 0. If it's the y-intercept, I've set x equal to 0. If it's the x-intercept, I set the opposite equal to 0. So I'm just solving for that variable. Okay, 2 more problems. I want you guys to try really hard and at least try and put an answer in. I hope that our conversation about how to do it helped you guys out a little bit on that. So we have 2 more. Oh, it says Delta Math again. Dang it, I forgot to change that. Our conversation helped you out a little bit on understanding what you're supposed to do to solve for this. So I would like you to try your hardest and get these 2 done, okay? Again, I'm going to substitute in 0, right? So for my x-intercept,
You can put minus 10 equals negative y times 0.
negative 5 times 0, yeah. Plus x.
0 plus x. And then...
And since that's 0, negative 10 equals x. So my x-intercept is negative 10, 0.
Wait, what are you writing it on? Oh, because that's what I was going to say. I was like, it's so slow.
Oh, is it slow right now? Sorry,
Yeah.
sometimes it's probably my internet is slow right now, so.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I know you're writing it down, but I don't see nothing, though. Then it just pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Something
Oh, honey.
like that.
Oh, honey. No, you don't get into my room. Okay.
Who, the girl?
Oh, somebody's pretending to be Ernesto now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. How do they change their names to...
I don't know, because they're not allowed to change their names. So that's another reason that I know that that's not them. So someone in here gave them,
Their code.
yep.
I'm pretty sure you can change your name if you have like the app on your phone.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to put in my 0, you guys. I think it's x equals 0. There we go. Oh, it's your friend Gage.
Oh, ew. That's not my friend. Okay.
That was who was pretending to be you before.
Huh? What was that?
Remember the first time that
When he had it as my name?
Yeah.
I ain't no disrespectful. I don't know. That would get me pissed, bro. I was like, man, she about to mark me late or absent now. And then you were just like, oh, Keely, which was you? I was like, oh, I'm on the one with the camera on.
Yeah. So I don't know why they think that I'm gonna let them in now. So. So we've got 24. Oh, sorry, I wrote that so close. 24x equals 4 times 0 minus 48. Wow. -2. My head is just pounding. The longer I look at the iPad, the worse my head is getting. Oh, now I put Ketlin gave me the code. Just so you know.
Aw.
Yeah, someone put Ketlin gave me the code.
Okay. I don't even have my hands on the keyboard.
Find out, bro. Find out you'd be giving out the class code away.
I know. Like, why would I give that? Why would I do that?
I mean, he's your homie, G.
He's not my homie, bro. I don't even know him.
So if you come into my class and are disrespectful, why would you think I'm going to let you back into my class? That's my whole thing. Right? 012. Okay? Okay, guys, this is how you're going to have to do today's work. And this is what I have. Oh, I should stop.